Welcome. I'm so excited to be with this superstar woman, Renee McClure from Douglasville, Pennsylvania. I'm in San Diego. And if you are a woman who is super excited about using your life to make a difference to empower teenage girls, then this interview is something you must watch. Put everything away, set aside your distractions, and focus in on this amazing woman, Renee McClure, who is one of our rock star, superstar Teen Wisdom Inc. certified coaches in Douglasville, Philadelphia. And she is a woman who has a mission. She calls herself Renee on Fire because she really is on fire, doing the work to empower adolescent girls that we all are inspired to do. So I am excited to interview you, Miss Renee, because you are a graduate of our program, the Teen Wisdom Inc. Certified Virtual Program, our life coaching certification program. You finished it in June of 2014, and so I was middle of 2014. Mm-hmm. So here we are now, about 3 years later, and I can't wait till you share what has happened in your life. So tell us a little bit about your background before you started the program, and maybe a little bit about before you took the program, kind of what some of your struggles were, why you sought the program out. First, tell us a little bit about what you were doing and then what brought you to the program and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I had been working for a bunch of other practices, doing mental health services for a lot of teenagers, a lot of kids. I was kind of the kid person in my practice, and did that for quite a few years until my children. I have 6-year-old triplets now. So when they were 3, I decided that it was time to really actually kind of go out and do it myself. I'd been dabbling with it a little bit, but it was kind of a sink or swim moment of deciding if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this now. And that's when I started looking for the program.
Because you weren't busy enough raising 3-year-old triplets.
Really? Yeah.
You decided that was the time to go out on your own and put your own name on a shingle and say, I'm not working for anybody else anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I called her Renee on Fire. Because
that's how we do things around here.
Just do it. So tell me a little bit. Okay. So you were a licensed clinical social worker working for other agencies.
Yep.
You were fairly busy.
Yeah, I was very busy. I was definitely in our area. I was, 2+ months I was booked out. So, I had a nice little gig. People got me my clients. I was rolled around. I took insurance and, I was busy. I just kind of had to show up for work and, do my thing. They had it all together for me.
And yet something inside of you said, this isn't really fulfilling. This isn't enough.
No.
So tell me about that, because before you took the program, what were some of the struggles in your business or your career? Like, were you feeling stuck, and kind of what brought you, thank God, what brought you to our program about 3 years ago?
You know what? I think I always knew that I wanted to go out on my own. And I think that life just kind of with, trying to get pregnant with my children, then having my children, there was always something that was kind of the next thing that was getting in the way of just jumping in and doing it. And I think that for me, it was just wanting to move to the next level. I really wanted to be able to focus in on teen girls because that's what I was getting so much of in my practice. And I already had such a passion to do that. Mm-hmm. And, I really just wanted to make, in some ways, my life easier in the sense where I could really focus in on that niche and then also be, my practice is right near my home. So I could be with my children and I could create this, practice that I really wanted to and have it be about me. And have it be the way I liked to do things and the way I like to interact with people and what I thought things that were important in working with them in a therapy or a coaching situation.
Great. So you wanted to do it your way. You wanted to set it in a way that worked for you because you were tired of a full practice of clients that you didn't get to vet. You were taking insurance, so you weren't making a full fee that you wanted to make.
Right.
You were kind of exhausted doing all that work. And so tell me a little bit about, how those challenges were affecting you and how they were negatively impacting your business, your life. Like, tell me about, what were you really wanting and yearning for that you didn't have?
You know what? I really would just wanted to be in charge of me. Mm-hmm. And I think that, it's having small children and being in a practice, you're sharing the fee that you're getting from the insurance company.
Yep.
And so you're only getting a percentage of that. And yet you're doing so much work. And for me, it was being able to say financially for all of us of saying, all right, I want to be in charge of myself. I financially want to be more stable and not have to work so many hours and just direct client hours. That extra time that I'd like to have, I'd like to be, involved doing programs or doing things in our community, doing things that felt really just more involved in being able to help teen girls and move them to the next level.
That's awesome. So one of the things that you wrote about, because I asked you to think about your journey, is that you didn't have the luxury of dabbling in a private practice to see where it would really go.
Yeah.
and you wanted that, but you also said your income was essential because you couldn't just try this. Like you needed to know, having three triplets, sorry, that's redundant, having triplets that were 3 years old.
Yeah.
You had to kind of make, we talk in our program about leaps of faith and taking big, bold steps and bold actions forward. So because you didn't have that luxury of, like you were booked 8 weeks in advance, you were working for a bigger agency, you wanted to go out on your own, you were at that kind of that choice point. What did you do? Like, what happened?
For me, it was, those first few months, I was white knuckling it. Like we were crossing our fingers and, I knew that I went from seeing 35 a week to seeing luckily 10.
Okay.
And because I had to, clients that I had for them to come with me, all of a sudden they were going to be paying out of pocket.
Right.
So it was, a big switch for them that came along with me. And then I had to start to really get out there and market myself and let people know that I was doing this on my own. And, many people thought that what I was doing was pretty crazy, that, going and starting this practice and not taking insurance. They all looked at me politely and be like, oh, well, good luck with that. And they're like, yeah, I don't know how you're going to do that. Like, and, for me, part of my own personality is that part of, okay, now you're telling me that I can't do this. Oh, I'm going to show you that I'm going to be able to do this.
So how did you come to our program and why did you choose it?
I think for me, because I really wanted to market myself of just working with teenagers, because I knew that's what I love the most. And that's where I really did my best work. I stumbled upon your program. I was like looking up, teen programs and just information and really just trying to build up my own resource list of things that I had. And I, stumbled upon your program and did the foundations.
Fundamentals.
Fundamentals. I did the fundamentals and I was like, okay, I totally signed me up. And it was one of those things that we did not have the money at the time. And I remember talking to my husband going, I really don't care if we don't have the money. We have to figure out how to make this work because I know this is absolutely something that I need to make this business go.
So you talk about a huge leap of faith.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And yet, I'll tell you something. There was something about that leap of faith that it was there, but I knew I needed to do it. It didn't feel like that much of a leap in a sense. I just knew I needed to do it. I knew that there was going to be something in this program that was going to be helpful. I had no idea how helpful it was going to be.
Oh, you're amazing. So what inspired you then really was you were in a place where you were ready to be on your own. Like you said, I love when you said, take charge of my own. What did you say? Take charge of me.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And not feel like you have to sort of fit into another box. So you defined the odds. You took our program. So kind of after having gone through the program, some of the results in your business have been amazing. And Renee is not getting paid to share this with you. She really loves our mission and what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And stayed close to our mastermind program and other things, coaching, and she's really a success story of what it takes to be a thriving, awesome certified teen wisdom coach. So tell me, because I'd love to hear it. I'm so proud of you. What have some of the results been as you went through the program or completed the program and kind of where you are now?
So when I started the program, I went back and I looked. It was like, this was actually a fun exercise kind of to do.
Yeah.
I went back and I looked and I was probably seeing 10 to 14 clients a week. 14 was like a banner week in our house. It was like, I've got 14 this week.
That's a lot.
And yeah. And when I look at where I'm at now I'm seeing 24 clients a week on a regular basis. And my fee has jumped 60% than when I first started. So it's like, I still kind of get chills with that part of it. Just like, oh my gosh, like, you know, this has really, like, I could almost see it when I first started, but I just, you know, really just couldn't imagine in some ways that it was going to happen. And it just happened in such a nice, steady flow for me, of just putting the work in to be able to do it. And now I have such great referral sources and people that know that this is what I do, that it's a big, huge change.
It's incredible. So you have full practice, you have 24 clients a week. In the coaching world, we consider that a full practice, especially because we're working with youth. So they're in school, unless you're working with a different market that isn't in school. You know, your hours are after school hours, right? Yeah. And so you've designed your practice to fit your lifestyle, right? Tell everybody a little bit about that, because I think that's one of the reasons people want to get into life coaching. Is that you can really set it up to work for you and your lifestyle. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm very lucky because I have this really cute little office that is attached off to my old little farmhouse that I have here. So it's a setting that my girls love to come. We actually have some horses, so they love to be able to that. We have a cute dog. And, but what's really nice about the way that I have it structured is that I have it 3 days a week. Like, so I see clients 3 days a week. But what's nice about it is now that my kids are in kindergarten and starting Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts and all those different things, is that, you know, there are times where I can actually switch an evening from a Tuesday to a Wednesday because my daughter has Girl Scouts, so that I can actually be present for a lot of these things that they're doing extracurricular wise, and being able to feel like I'm still in there managing their homework and everything else, while I still see other children that can only see me when my kids are home. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's working out very well.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is, because, you know, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a woman who's in a career transition, or you're wondering how you could set this up, the neat thing is it's super flexible. I mean, Renee has the luxury of having a house that has, you know, the extra space, and that's great. Or people can come up with ways to do things remotely via Skype or FaceTime. You know, the thing is, you can set this up your pace, your way. And that's one of the things that I talk a lot about in the certification program. So when we look at results like, wow, 24 clients a week, 60% increase in your fee, you're not taking insurance anymore, you're really the go-to person in your area because you've worked really strategically to market and set yourself up, which we teach you about in the program. And then, of course, you put it forward and stayed in our community. You stayed in our mastermind program, and you've coached with me. And talk with me a little bit about, and share with the audience, who people who are watching this, a little bit about, you know, internally how you've grown. Because what I always say is, it's not even so much about the results, it's about who you became in order to achieve or manifest those results. I like to say womanifest. On the inside, like, what changed for you internally? Because externally, you've got that. You've got the full practice. You've got the flexibility. You've got the ability to step in and out of your kids' events and things. You're setting it up your pace, your way. How do you think you've grown internally by becoming this self-employed Renee on Fire warrior woman, changing the lives of teenage girls?
Yeah. You know what? One of the things that I actually, like, I had a feeling when I went into the program and was so blessed and lucky with this part of it, was that I knew that there was a part of me, like, I was going to find my tribe. And I was going to be with other women. I was really longing for that because, you know, it's great to work for yourself and be able to manage all your own stuff. As, you know, someone who can be a bit of a control freak herself, I like to be able to have a say and all that. But I also knew that there's a part that can get a little lonely when you're doing big work like this. You need to be able to have support from others. And I think that I knew going into it that, you know, I was going to be with other women that had the same type of vision. And I think that the support of that only increased all this, increased my confidence, not only just in my learning the skills of becoming a coach, which
Yes.
is, has its difference from therapy, but even just as a therapist, all the way around, it was such an increase in confidence for me and just clarity in the work that I wanted to do, which really helped me in my messaging out to everyone when I would go out and talk with people, that, people could really see that I was passionate about what I was doing. And I also had some clarity in what I was trying to do out there, that I think the program helped so much with being able to organize things in such a way that you didn't feel like you were flopping around, like just,
Right.
doing things, that you were really able to really communicate what it was that you were doing and what you were trying to do in a just more clear and concise way.
Phenomenal. Yeah, that community and that support, so that you don't feel like you're building, because you're building
Yeah.
something. And I mean, think about, the
Yeah.
construction field. When people are having a house built or you're building something, nobody's doing that alone. There's a general
Right.
contractor, and all the subcontractors, and an architect. So there's no reason that anybody should do this alone. And so
Yeah.
because when you talk about the clarity and the confidence that you really got from the program, that really came from that connection and being part of
Yeah.
it. Way. I love that.
Yeah.
So one of the things, that you wrote about, that we talked about with regards to bold choices, I asked you, what do you think your first bold choice was? And you said it was to leave your practice.
Yeah.
And then you said another bold choice was just to focus in on being a teen girl coach, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about that bold choice. And, you're living about an hour outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So that was a bold choice too, because that you knew
Yeah.
that was your heart, what you wanted to do,
Yeah.
in full practice of girls. Tell us
Yeah.
why that was a bold choice.
It was bold in the sense that I'm an hour outside of Philadelphia, as you said. So
Right.
I'm not in the city. I'm in a much more, it's fairly rural. We're still close to things, but it's a rural area. And, just the idea of just focusing in on teen girls was like, people just never thought there was going to be enough.
Wow.
And it's so totally wrong. So when you're thinking, like anyone that's listening to this and sits there and thinks, oh my gosh, like there are tons of teenage girls out there that need all of our help in so many different ways. So it was bold, I think, in the eyes. Like now it doesn't seem as bold when I look back, when I think I could not possibly serve as many girls that are here. There could be 10 more of us just like me here, and we still wouldn't hit all the girls that really could benefit and use our help.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true. So for those of you thinking, is there really a market for this?
Absolutely.
Renee's practice is full, and she's an hour outside the more urban area or suburban area, and families are driving their daughters to see her.
They are.
You're good. And people will find the right help for their daughter, their granddaughter, niece. So I love what you talked about when you talked about as you move forward to attempt to get new results.
Yeah.
So you talked about what you reminded yourself, that you said doing something new or putting myself out there. Talk about that. I think that's a great nugget for people who are thinking, I'd love to be a life coach for teenage girls.
Yeah.
It feels a little outside my wheelhouse. Can I really do this? Does this program really equip me? What did you say to yourself as you took the program or have been building your practice for the last few years to keep you moving forward?
Yeah. So a lot of the clientele that I have, especially because of my therapy background, are girls with anxiety. Mm-hmm. And so I ask them to do a lot of really scary things. Now, other people may not think that they're so scary because it might just be like walking into school. But for some of the girls that I have, that can be terrifying for them. Really? Or even just asking their teacher for, help with something. And, what got me through all of that was when there were moments or that you would ask us to do something that just felt uncomfortable, was like, okay, Renee, you cannot continue to ask these girls to do really hard things and then sit in the same room with them, knowing that you're not doing it yourself. Good for you. So I would just have girls that would pop up in my mind's eye when I would be like trying to talk myself out of doing something that was a little uncomfortable, and just be like, how can you look at that girl in the eye again? And if you're not doing it, and I would tell them that too, like even in our session, I would say, well, man, I just want to let you know, you totally inspired me when you did that last week, because I didn't want to do this thing. And I ended up doing it because, you know, I couldn't look at you again and know that I didn't do it.
Well, so awesome.
Yeah, it really helped move things forward for me when I would get, oh, I don't want to do this, or try to convince myself that it really wasn't that great of an idea. No, it was what needed to be done. And that's what helped me move through it.
Because that's amazing. And so that's the definition, in my opinion, of deep integrity, because your words and your actions are matching.
Yeah.
And so you are walking your talk with these girls. So when you have to connect with a school or get up and give a speech, or all the different ways that you've built your business, those were all stretches and growth opportunities for you. Yeah. So when we be that transparent with our girls about what we're doing in our own lives, they love that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Totally. So one of the things that I strive for in my own life is to be able to get to a place where I have those like pinch me moments where I call myself really present to what's going on in my life, because like you, I'm a striver, and I'm always thinking, what's next, what's next, what's next. And so sometimes just to stop and recognize that, wow, things really are different. I'm actually living the dream that I set up, you know.
Yeah.
Have you had any moments like that, or have you had a moment like that? Maybe it was when you were coaching a certain girl, or a success story, or...
It was actually with you. It was a moment with you. And I believe it was either last November or December, and we were having a coaching call, and you were asking me how things were going and what we were looking at. And I was like so excited to tell you that I was going to meet my goals for the year. And what I tried to do is not actually come up with an income goal for me, but I came up with how many clients I wanted to see throughout the year, because it kind of helped me not focus so much on the money part, but it helped me be like, okay, this is how many clients I need to get this week. That seemed to work for me. And when we were talking, I was like, I'm going to meet my goals for this year that I thought were so ridiculous when I first came up with the goal. I did not think that it was possible to actually meet. And I just remember talking and you taking me through all of the things that we had worked through that year, and feeling like, I remember just like, Renee, you're a badass. And I was like, I am. It was like that moment of going like, oh my gosh, I really did this. Like I did this. I knew I could, or thought I could, but it was the actual reality of looking at, around and just seeing, oh my gosh, I've made every goal that I sought after this year. And they were lofty goals. They weren't just, small ones that were easy ones to get. It was a big change from, struggling to get 10 a week to being able to be full and meet those goals. And I just, for a month, I walked around just saying to myself, you're a badass. Like, you've done this. You've done this. Like, what is your next thing now? Like, this is so amazing. You can do this.
Great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And we need to acknowledge ourselves, because we, and you did this all with triplets under the age of 5. So, if Renee can do it, anybody can do it.
That was crazy.
I mean, you're a little crazy. No, I'm kidding. I love you. But, if she can do it, you can do it. And so what would you tell someone who's considering enrolling in the program? How would you either describe it to them, and what would you say about the program, and really taking that leap to pursue their passion?
Yeah. I think we all get scared before we go and do something big like that.
You know what, Renee? Can you hear me? Your sound is coming in and out a little bit, so I don't know if the mic is...
Is that better?
Try again.
Okay. Let's try that. Is that better?
Well, not so much, but that's okay. It's been a little soft, but I can hear you because it's so awesome, everything you're saying. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll try to talk a little louder. Maybe that.
So let me ask you again. So if you were going to share what, with other people about the program, if they were considering doing the program, or, can I really do this, and what is possible for me, what would you basically say to them about the program?
Yeah. I think it's the part of, if it's that part where you just get scared before making a big decision like that, and you don't think you're qualified enough, or you don't think that, like, I don't know if this program's for me, I'll tell you something. The Teen Wisdom program, it's just so nicely laid out the way that it is. It's so organized, and it was so refreshing, because sometimes you can get yourself involved in something where you're just like, oh my gosh, I paid all this money for this. It was well worth every penny that I had, because it really walked you through all of the steps of how to create, your coaching business. So not only just all of this wonderful resources of how to work with girls and what it's like to do the coaching part of it, but it was also the stuff that we tend to get really scared about. It's like, how are we going to make this work? You had templates, you had all of these different things that took away so much of the uncertainty that you didn't have to reinvent the wheel. And that was one thing that I was absolutely looking for, because I had 3 small kids. So I just didn't want, I didn't have time to reinvent the wheel. And it was just so helpful to just open the binder and go, okay, this is what I'm working from. And all of it was just, I think that it was truly worth everything. In fact, even with my master's program, you get a lot of, different kinds of education, but nothing that pinpoints things down to the practical things of what you're going to need to do, of working with girls, of running the business of working with girls, of learning how to do an intake, all of those things. It was I'm not going to say my master's wasn't worth it, but it was, I'll tell you, it was more helpful in so many ways than even many of the things that I learned in my master's program.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I mean, I remember when you said that on one of our calls, because we have live calls during the program, and we were kind of going around at the end of one of the calls, and Renee said that. She said, I'm getting more out of this than my master's program. Yeah. And listen, Renee has a master's, I do too. We're all about education.
Yeah.
But we also know sometimes there's a limit to how deep the practical application of these real-time ways to connect with girls, the top issues affecting girls, the tools that go with the issues, and then how do you really build a successful, lucrative girl empowerment-based business? So that's a specialty in and of itself too. Mm-hmm. So, you've done such an amazing job, Renee, and that's why I thank you so much for being willing to do this interview and to share with other women what's possible for them. Whether you're a therapist, a teacher, a counselor, I don't know if you have any final words, or if there's one girl that you worked with that really kind of encapsulated all of your gifts that came together in a moment of like, wow, I really can't believe I get paid to do this. Yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts or...
I think the biggest thing that I would really say, because I have so many amazing girls that I work with, I totally feel blessed to do what I do, because I just adore them all, even the ones that we joke around that they drive me crazy sometimes, that I still adore them, and they're so needed. So I just think anyone that is thinking about going into coaching girls, you are so needed to do this. So when you get in your head thinking, oh, I don't know if I could, or this might be hard, just your presence in so many ways in these girls' lives is just so needed. And, just the program is so helpful to be able to get you out there to be able to do that, because they really need us, all of us.
They do. And this proactive way that we as coaches show up for girls is, it's different. You being a therapist, or you're a licensed clinical social worker, and, for people that don't have that background, do you feel like this program is doable for them? What would you say to people that don't come from a clinical background?
You know what? I absolutely, because I'm on the other side of it too. And I know what it was like when I got out of my master's program and I first started doing therapy with clients.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. To be able to have the resources that this program provides, would have been so beyond helpful. There was part of me that was jealous. I think I probably even said this in one of our calls. I'm like, ladies, I am so jealous of you, because you have all of this stuff to be able to help you get started that I would have died for when I got out of my master's program. Because Tami, you put a lot of work and into this program, and you can tell that you have, and the experience that you have with young girls, because it's all right there.
It is.
To be able to utilize.
Well, there's no doubt that we do our best in the program to really just create a way to have it feel easy, some people say it's kind of a connect the dots program where, you know, we just have kind of, because here's why. When I started the program, well, let me back up. When I started coaching, I didn't have a template for how to really do it. I had to go and cobble and parcel and piece it all together. And I took training, you know, for anybody that's done a little bit of this, a little bit of that, where you kind of, and that's great. But at some point, if you really want to put your name on this and become an expert and really attract sustainable clients that stay with you and refer their neighbor and their niece and their sister, you really have to know what you're doing. So when I started the training program back in 2009, and the ladies that know me, if any of you are watching this, that did our very first program, they know that I cried throughout that whole weekend, because I was kind of really unveiling and revealing what I had been putting together for 10 years before I ever even started training other women. Yeah. So I appreciate everything you're saying. And I don't know if you have any final words of inspiration or closing thoughts before we, you know, close out.
I just think if, you know, you're not quite sure, it's an adventure, all of it. And I think if you embrace this as an adventure, you will get so much out of it, like so much more than you possibly could have imagined going into it.
So I love that. If we embrace it as an adventure, you'll get so much more out of it than you ever even thought. And listen, the proof is in the pudding. You have a full practice, your prices increased by 60%. You've got people driving an hour to see you because their daughters love working with you. You're being invited to speak all over the county, the schools. You have amazing built-in referrals now. I mean, that's only 3 years later, and you've done every year, you've exponentially improved your numbers, your results, your referrals. Renee, I'm so proud of you. Thank you so, so much for sharing with us today and inspiring other women. If this is really calling to you and you feel like teen girls need to hear your voice and your particular imprint on their life needs to happen, then join us. Like, join our tribe. You'll get to have amazing friendships with people like Renee and literally hundreds of women that have come through our program. They're doing this all over the world now. So like Renee said, girls need you more than ever before. The life coach is, in our opinion, the missing professional in the marketplace. She or he, if he's working with boys, in our program, it's women working with girls, really is the number one, what we see, the number one role model and change agent in girls' lives aside from their immediate family. So and sometimes their immediate family isn't always, you know, super, super aware of what the top issues are affecting them. So I can't thank you enough. I honor you. I presence you. I know how hard you've worked. I mean, listen, we don't promise any results, but we certainly provide a structure that says, if this is your passion, there's an infrastructure for you. So God bless you, Renee on Fire. Let's keep setting the bar higher to help us get to that 2 million girls by 2020. Absolutely. Thank you for doing your part. You're amazing. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. See you soon. Talk to you soon. Okay. Bye. Now I have to figure out how to stop the recording. Hold on.